Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Settler,
And I'm Dr. K.
and we're here with an episode of Holistic Highlights, or Emergency Being when you click the wrong video file. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about focusing of energy and kind of the idea that you hear in metaphysics energy flows where your attention goes. And with so much chaos happening in the world, uh, what are you lending your attention to? Because whatever you're lending your attention to, you're feeding, whether you want that to show up in your reality or not. So it's really important to have this conscious awareness of where you're putting your attention and your intention and look to create the things. Dr. K is really good about that, like focus on things you want to bring into your life.
Yep, for sure. And sorry, I apologize in advance, guys. We're having a little bit of a wow internet issue, or I am, not Hank. But so if I freeze, just hang tight. I will be.
I told Dr. K that if she freezes, I'm just going to freeze like this.
We're
And
gonna have fun with this.
uh, but that, and sometimes also causes a little bit of lag. So if I accidentally talk over you or anything like that, because that happened on one stream where you were laggy or there was an audio lag, and it seemed as though I was interrupting, but I wasn't. It wasn't as bad as it was in real time, but it came off bad on the recording because one person even made a comment. They're like, "Interrupt, interrupt, thumbs down." I'm like, "Oh."
Aw.
I'm like, well, at least they were watching it. If they must have found value in the content if they were getting that annoyed at it. So that was good.
Yeah, definitely. This is a common topic. I think a lot of people hear about is the common line of where energy will flow where your attention goes, and that's you hear that in all sorts of places. It's a very very common theme, and it's very true. And so I did a live video kind of touching on this yesterday and intermittent fasting. Those were my two little things, but where we are putting so much attention on a specific thing and what I'm seeing, and I'm guilty of it too, because I fall in, I'm more aware now and pull myself back because I'm at that stage where I've reached enough levels that I can catch myself when I'm doing something. A lot of people maybe aren't quite there yet, but when you're focusing so much on something, and with everything going on with the elections and this impeachment and vaccines, and there's a huge need to prove your point and your opinion. And when you do that, that's where your attention is so fixated. And I'm finding this is where people stay. This is where a lot of people are staying. I'm seeing it across Facebook, not so much on Instagram, but even on Parler and all these other ones that are coming out. People are very, what's the word I want to use? Stuck so much in proving their opinion. Can't you see? My line was, can't you see that this is the way it needs to be? Can't you see that this is wrong and this is right? Can't you see that this or this? And a lot of people are really stuck there without pulling themselves back and going, okay, I'm not going to fixate so much energy and attention on this one thing, because you'll feel it in your body. You feel it in your head. Notice when you're really into something, like you'll feel that like willpower going, no, can't this person understand that Trump is the winner? Why don't they get that? You'll feel that within yourself versus pulling yourself back and saying, okay, what if I just, and this can take a little trickery and a little practice to be able to pull yourself back and start to be able to see both points of view and other things that pop up beyond that. Because the fact is, no matter what's going on in the world, the grass will still grow, the trees will still sway. There's a higher power. And I tell people, don't forget, there's the abyss up above. There's the sky. We go through the sky. What is there? Space, the never ending Star Trek space of light year, 100 light years away. There's something else out there that's much bigger than us. That will continue no matter what's going on in this earth. So
Well, I'll put up
that's,
the Earth pic since you mentioned Earth.
if that's there, then we have to have faith in something higher. And we are down in the rabbit holes, just absolutely persistent on this is it. This is the way it needs to be. And I explained it like a cloud. Like, you know, when you're driving at night and there's a huge fog and you're driving and you can't see much of the road ahead of you. That's where a lot of people are right now. You can't see straight because there's too much noise in your head, because that's you're fixated on that one thing or two things, and you can't allow yourself to see, well, maybe there is a little good on the other side. Maybe this is not so bad. Maybe this is not so bad. And then there's a lot of stuff, as I call it, in the hodgepodge right now. I think there's a lot of mistruths. I think the truth is meshed up in all the mistruths, but we're putting a lot of attention in different spaces that it's creating chaos. It's not creating good. Okay?
Right.
So
One thing to remember with this too, the ego only functions on past data, and the ego's job is to keep you safe, and it will let you choose the same thing over and over again. It will let you relive your worst day. And when we're looking at new possibilities, the ego freaks out. So people are kind of conditioned, just with the nature of the ego working, to choose things that are the same cycles. But what I feel that as a species, we are waking up. And Neil Donald Walsh even has that book, Awaken the Species, which we talked about. We ought to circle back and do some streams on that again.
yeah.
But we're moving from being human doings into human beings. And we're starting to go from the world of past and of choosing the same thing for survival and choosing these things that are possibility. And there's like a clash of people who are choosing the possibility and the people who are looking to, let's just keep it all the same. Change is bad. I'm afraid of change. And that's what we're seeing, a lot of this friction. But what you resist persists, like what Dr. K said. And when you're doing this with the person you're arguing, you're actually creating more tension, where just let the person be where they're at. And if everybody just holds a space for the other person, it creates a space where everybody can choose a different possibility instead of feeling that they need to defend what their belief is or whatnot.
Yeah, what would it be like if just somebody said something and it didn't strike you? It didn't strike you in your chest. You didn't feel it. It's kind of like, oh, okay. People wouldn't be getting upset. It would you just let people be where they are. And this gets really tricky because when somebody might not be telling you the truth. But if you could just let them be and not create all this. I'm trying to think of the best word, Hank, to describe what's going on. It's not like a fire. It's a culmination of.
In shamanism, we would call it a pachakuti.
Okay,
it means world turned upside down, where there's such an event or events that create. It's like one of those little things that the kids have where the sand or the little bubbles settle and you flip it and then everything falls down again. Every so often the world shifts like this and it creates this field of chaos, but from that chaos can come great possibility, because you literally have the opportunity to create whatever you'd like out of that chaos, because form and structure of how things were are going away, and we're stepping into a whole new choice. And to go with your the resistance thing, I put up the tool interesting point of view. Yeah. For things not to strike you, you can just say interesting point of view, that you have that point of view, but truly from a place of no charge. Because some people say interesting point of view, you have that point of view, and that's kind of like it doesn't help.
You still have a charge. So breaking it down to the charge, you feel it when you get frustrated with somebody, when you get angry with somebody, when you're like, no, this is so wrong. How can this? I can't believe this person's saying this. Where do you feel that? In your heart, in your throat? Just check it. Check it where you feel like a lot of tension versus what does it feel like when you're at peace? When you say something and it's just kind of nice and you feel light. That doesn't feel light. You have to check these things in your body. Are you feeling light when you say something or talk about something? Or are you feeling like, no, I'm going to power through and I'm going to use my willpower? And there's a lot of willpower right now. I posted a little thing on vaccines. It was from the Chicago Tribune, which is it's a decent source. It didn't have a ton of detail in it, but I put, interesting, because it was an interesting read to me. It was about an obstetrician that had gotten the vaccine and within 4 days had a massive systemic reaction of plaques that formed on, they're like actually little rashes that form on your skin, and he died. And so immediately I got either a far left or a far right, and I can feel these energies when they come through when somebody comments. It's really powerful. Like, I'm going to make my point. See, you shouldn't get it. And then some doctor commented, no, it's completely safe and it's completely okay to take. Some other doctor commented on that. And I found myself down the rabbit hole going, wait a minute. It's not completely safe, because if you're saying it's 100% safe, then how come this person had a reaction? And what got me though is I don't think anybody even read the article. I think they just read the title. Obstetrician dies due to 4 days after COVID vaccine, and immediately whatever points of view you have, those people came in with reinforcing that without reading the article at all.
Right.
So
And the answer whether a vaccine is right or wrong for someone could be a completely personal thing. When we were with the kids, it was all, well, we knew, we educated ourselves on both sides, and then we just asked the question, what feels right? What for us, what is the, the choice to make here? And we followed our guidance on that. But it's a hard thing because we get so charged looking at the
yeah,
polarity, and the
yeah,
addiction to polarity is the strongest addiction there is, and all humans have it.
absolutely. We are, none of us are there. I mean, aside from the few awakened souls on the planet, we all get. I get triggered with it. We all get triggered with it.
Yeah. Even Christ wrecked the tabernacle. I like throwing that example out. One of the people that is looked at as a highly evolved soul or whatnot, even they got knocked off center because we are spiritual beings, have a human experience. There is a human equation, no matter how evolved someone is. It's a constant progress, not perfection, because there's
Yeah,
always a new opportunity to push ourselves to experience something more. And so there's always going to be things like that that we have to recognize and take a step back and realize, well, instead of reacting to this, what energy would I like to be and how would I like to respond to this to create possibility instead of limitation in the world?
yep. How am I going to choose to respond to this? Am I going to choose to get all charged up? Is that going to help me? Is that going to get me to my destination how I want to feel? If the answer is no, then don't go with it. If it is, for some people, that's just, yeah, they feel that that's going to improve their life. Yeah, those people need a little more awakening. But my other thought was, even if you like hypothetically get the vaccine and it's where is your mind with it? Your mind can overpower so many things. It's been documented, it's been seen. You can take I think we discussed this before, Hank. You can take some terrible things or eat some terrible things, but if your mind is strong enough to not allow that reaction in the body, it's possible to
Yep.
override that. So,
Right. Point of view creates reality.
yeah.
Let me give this example. When my kids were playing, we have a Honda Odyssey and it has those two sliding doors. I know I've told you this story before. And the kids were just opening it and closing it, opening it and closing it, playing with it. And I said, stop playing with the door, you're going to break it. And the next thing you know, the door broke. So the question is, had I not said that, would it have broken? Or did I put that into their consciousness that by doing this, this is going to happen? And if we read the things and focus on the things that we wouldn't like to show up in our life, but we're adding attention to it and we're adding energy to it, if you do get the vaccine or don't get the vaccine, what reality will you create? Because what is your core belief around that?
Exactly.
And so that's why it's so important. Really look at what you're allowing to come into your awareness, and if it's charged one way or the other, that is something that is going to lend to subconscious creation. So it's really important to be mindful of that.
Yeah, and if you're really fearful of the virus and you get the vaccine and you have a strong holding belief that this is going to fix something, one of two things can happen. Number one, you're very scared of the virus and you're being injected with it. So it could have a reaction, or it's really not going to have any reaction at all because your belief is that I'm going to take this and this is going to help. So it's the whole placebo effect. They could give you nothing and it could create some wonderful response.
Did you see on NPR they had a story called the placebo effect, where they actually did a study. They gave, it was, I think they were focusing on groups of people with diverticulitis, and they said this is a sugar pill. Medically, there's no reason that it's going to do anything, but it's going to help your diverticulitis or whatnot. And people knew that it was a sugar pill, yet it actually helped in like a huge percentage of the people that were studied. And that was just to show that the belief in doing something and also the physical representation of an action to make a change, both of those factors combined have a huge effect on what reality you create, because they knew it was a sugar pill, yet it helped anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can even share one of my experiences. I'm training for another bodybuilding show. My last one that I did last year, I did two, or not last, the year before I did two. And the very last one I did, I had not so great of an experience. I was kind of dizzy and the morning didn't go well and I didn't place well. And, there's certain supplements I take, so I'm kind of with a new coach now, trying, some things online and getting some recommendations. And he mentioned taking this same supplement, and I already got dizzy just because my brain has already associated taking this powder with, it's a cellular memory. I literally got dizzy for about a half hour because I associated that experience with the morning of the previous show and not feeling good. And I haven't even taken anything yet.
Yep.
So, I mean, he was just online, just reading it was like, oh man, what if I take this again and I'm not going to feel good again and I'm going to lose? And so this is perfect example of your mind has already has created a cellular memory with an event. And it works the same way with energy. If you put a ton of attention on anger, on frustration, on whatever it is, and you stay in that space, with time, you will start creating something.
Yeah. And I know, I think Dr. K, you don't have access to the board anymore. I don't know how you logged in, but we had a lot of people just timing in, just saying good morning and everything. We have Mary Lee saying good morning, Ernie. We have Mark saying greatness is here. Ernie was saying keep warm, don't freeze. Oh, that was a joke for your internet connection.
Yeah, right?
And then we have Cindy and Michael Fess. These are two amazing healers from Florida. They do a lot of sound work, and they have a little couple. They do like couple readings. It's really a great work. And then this is a great topic, fixation.
Mm-hmm.
Music is one of the best distractions. Music is a little dicey, actually. In access consciousness, we particularly won't play music because it can actually turn off trigger points because people are relaxed, and we rather aggravate them. So we might put on a movie like Gaslighting in the background, something that's going to turn them up, right? Because when you're going for a healing, relaxation is one thing. If you're going after the original wounds, we want you triggered so we can find them.
Exactly.
Doug was saying, good morning, guys. Greg White was saying, thoughts are things, happy or sad, positive or negative, peace or chaos. Thoughts are completely under our control. That's the good thing.
Absolutely. And people don't realize that. I have anxiety. You have control of that. Is it going to take a little bit to work on that? Yes. There is work to be done. One of my favorite things is I just friended one gal who runs she runs her own thing, but she said a very interesting or well put thing that people come to either me or Hank or other healers and fix me, and I thought I was done with that. I thought I was done. I thought we got that, and I'm done with it. No, it's a journey. I wish, yes, we do get rid of certain things, but then there's more. There's just the ego keeps going, and there's layers. And so this is a journey. That work continues daily. It's a routine daily, and our goal is to help to clear some things for you, right, so that you can have more ease and more grace with things.
And the thing comes that if you dealt with something, quote unquote, and all of a sudden it gets reanimated, the question is, was that the original wound? Because what occurs, and the description we give in Access is that it is like a nucleated sphere. It's not layers like an onion. It's actually like a kid's bubble pipe where you pop a bubble, another one fills in. You pop a bubble, another one fills in. The original wound getting dropped on your head as a kid, or getting left at the park, your parents forget about you, whatever the case is, abandonment, or a past life, there's this original wound that if that is still flowing energy, it can reanimate the things that we feel that we've worked on. Like, why is this coming up again? Well, when have you felt like that before? What was fueling that experience to be created in the first place that has been unresolved? And that's why those triggers are so important. Let's get to that original wound. I know you have that, I'm going to mispronounce it, that one process that Paramitas process. In shamanism we have it, in Access we have it. There's a common theme in healing modalities of what can we do to get to that original wound, take care of that, because in everything that was built on top of that, it's not feeling that anymore, and they can all effortlessly fall apart. And that is a huge benefit in healing.
Yeah, and even with the healings and extraction, the person can have the ability, even though we clear things and you feel better, you have the ability to pull things back and reignite something. So it's a journey, and then you just don't wake up the next day and it's kind of like, okay, I'm not doing any more work. The soul keeps evolving. We keep going through our lives. That's why we're here, to continue to evolve and learn a lesson. And when that lesson's done, then I don't know if you want to comment on that, Hank. That's my take, is when the soul is done, it moves on to
well, I don't know if point of view creates reality, and if you believe that you came here to learn lessons, that will be your experience. I believe we came here to have experience, and it doesn't necessarily have to have a point of view around lessons or not lessons. Maybe it could just be fun.
Experiences, we'll just call it that.
Experiences. So, but at the end of the day, it is like, call lessons experiences. It's a similar concept where we're coming from, is that, well, if I go back to Neil's work, if God is all there is all at once, and everything can only be known conceptually. The whole point of all of this is to have a contextual field in order to experience yourself as a divine being, in order for God to experience itself as something other than itself, because when it's only itself, it has nothing else. So it's all contextual field in order to have an experiential thing instead of conceptual thing. And whether that comes through as a lesson, as fun, as problems, as chaos, it's all about having an unending amount of experiences in which we can choose to express divinity into the physical plane. So that's where I would go with that.
Yeah, and we get tangled in those layers because that's where we start putting our energy. Like
Yeah.
we just we fixate. Fixation's a great word. Whoever commented on that, it's a fixation, and it's a strong word, but it's true that is what ends up happening. What are y'all fixated on?
Yeah, it was a mysterious Facebook user. And anybody who's watching from the groups, there is a link that gives StreamYard permission for us to know who you are. So if you click that link, then we would actually see a picture of you instead of just a mysterious Facebook user text. Which is fine. If you want to be mysterious, that's okay too. We're still happy to receive your contribution. And if you guys have questions, or if you have an experience where this has come up where you found yourself, trapped in a cycle of fixating on something negative or whatever, which is really the true Satan, right? Seeing anything as negative by corny acronyms that I always like to give. Let us know. We can maybe tailor some of our dialogue around that.
Yeah, I think fixation's a great word to energy focus. Energy flows where your attention goes equals fixation. That is, where are you fixated? What is your common thought throughout the day? Like, I know what mine are. I wake up with it. I think about it all day long until I go to bed. So we all have things that, or I don't know that we all have things, but a lot of times you'll notice when you have a problem that you want to resolve, you're constantly re-energizing that problem in your head. Like, what do I do about this? What do I do about this? Whether that's, a work issue or a family issue or a relationship issue, there are thoughts that we put a lot of energy. So find those. What are you all fixated on? What are some common things you all are fixated on that you think about repetitively? That's a perfect example of what Hank has written down there. Energy focus, energy flows where your attention goes. So you're energizing that thing, and it's starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to create some sort of ripple effect in your immediate world. So it's going to show up in all kind of different ways, but we don't realize that.
And then I'd invite you to ask the question, because we're sometimes aware of some of the things, but also like unconsciously, subconsciously, what are you persistently focused on? Because a lot of times we are disillusioned. We don't even realize that we're so fixated on something, and it takes somebody looking outside of ourselves saying, hey, do you realize that you're kind of putting a lot of energy into that? We might not even notice it. Take a step back and also ask the question, what am I unaware of consciously that I'm fixated on that I could become aware of and change with ease? And that is such an important thing, because subconsciously we're creating a lot more than we are consciously. That's shifting now, I believe, as a species and everything. But a lot of what we're creating, because your points of view and everything create your entire reality. Everything that shows up in it is all a result of a conscious or subconscious creation. And if you can start getting a lot more of that subconscious stuff under control or under awareness, then you can shift and change a lot more in your conscious world. Doug was offering, I just shared a situation with Dr. K the other day on Hall. I just recently got released from a 2-year mental voice I couldn't seem to get out of. Thank you for the help that you've given. Cool.
Yeah,
You're very welcome.
I meant to share that with you, Hank. And I tell people sometimes the healings we do at our energy clinics, I've found when I do my longer ones, when somebody comes in for an hour session, I've had delayed effects with people. So I'm like, oh man, this person says they don't feel better. But then like within two months, somewhere down the road, something really magical happens. And I'm like, that's a total result of what we did. Of what we did.
I think, was it at our clinic? I think it was like someone had come to an Access clinic a year ago, and I ran their bars at the clinic that we do the first Thursday of every month. And I didn't see them again for a year. And I think they just came to our clinic last Monday, and it took them, like, they had a year's worth of change and possibility show up. And they thought, well, I'm ready for like another dose. So sometimes like we don't even hear that changes have happened, but like a small little session can have a huge impact on people down the road too.
It does. And sometimes I want to let everybody know that when you come to see us, you get you will get from the universe exactly what you need in whatever dose that is. You will get exactly what you need and what you're longing for. So if you can come in with a very clear intention, that really helps. Tell us what do you really want, and things can play out down the road. And sometimes people don't notice that there's you ask people, how are you feeling? I'm not feeling any better. I don't feel any different. Okay, well, how was your week? Well, I got a free car, and I don't know, my mother-in-law died and left me, $10,000, but my job hasn't changed, and I didn't get the promotion, so nothing's changed. No, let's look at all the things that you did get that maybe didn't come as cash themselves, or you got a free car that you would have or could have needed to pay 20,000 for, so that's still money. So it's like things come in different ways. So yeah, don't focus so much on, don't fixate on nothing happened.
I talked on this. I did a New Moon Coffee Connect a couple days ago, and I talked on there about how when you're working with the universe and to create for yourself, the difference between having preferences and expectations. If the only way you're willing to receive from the universe is by having the expectation that you'll get more money in a job, or that or something will change, and the universe, something else shows up, you don't even recognize it as the universe delivering, because you had an expectation. You're handcuffing the universe and how you're willing to receive. Where if you just say, I would love abundance, I have a preference to get a raise in my paycheck, but I'll take it anyway, I get it. Having detailed preferences versus expectations unlock the ability of the universe to really deliver infinite possibilities to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people come in with, I need to make whatever XYZ amount of money, but they're also in the process of a divorce, and the divorce doesn't happen. That divorce may have cost you $100,000. So you just recovered something there. So be open to that, and don't be nitpicky to the universe.
Yeah. And for those of you who might be watching us for the first time, we talked about the clinic a few times. I'll just throw this up briefly. We, on the first and the third Mondays, we do an energy clinic that we basically work on people for 15 minutes and see what the experience is. And if you're interested in finding out more about that, we'll talk more about it at the end, but it's on the Emergence of Being website under monthly events, and you can get the information and sign up there. Oh no, we got an anger face, Dr. K. I don't know. Oh no. Well, that's interesting.
Okay.
Or they click the wrong emoji. That could be too.
I hope they click the wrong emoji. We haven't had any angry people leave. Everybody leaves pretty relaxed.
That's interesting. But every place where we would be align and agree with or resist to react to other people's point of view about us and what we say, we destroy it and create that. Because good points of view and bad points of view, like when we accept other people's judgments about ourselves, that locks us in to a certain place as well. And whether people say how wonderful you are or people say how crappy you are, either one of those, if you align and agree with or resist or react to, it actually locks you into duality. And in either case, you say, that's interesting, thank you for your contribution. And then you just receive it without judging it. And then it doesn't matter what people think of you. You can just go ahead and create in spite of whatever people's points of views are. So thank you, angry face, for giving us a talking point.
Yeah, don't create a fixation around it. I tend to do that. I used to do that a lot. I will admit, at times, it still gets me. You worry about what people think about you, and that's another fixation. So there's another energy flow of attention. So I think a good exercise would be for everybody for the next, if you want to start today or tomorrow, for the next 24 hours. Watch where you're putting your attention consistently. Is there something you're thinking about, a thought that pops in your head a lot throughout the day? Like, I'm worried about my mom or my sister, or worried about my job. Watch where your pattern is, and then maybe look into the next day and see if you're having that again. And this is not meant for you to just sit there and dissect all day long, but just a little awareness. I tell people maybe get like a little your stopwatch, and just every hour, just what was I just thinking about, and watch if there's a pattern, and because that's where you're putting a lot of attention, and something's going to start creating out of that. It may not happen tomorrow, may not happen next week, but thoughts do create things. So I think that's an exercise that everybody can do.
Yep. And if you want to give yourself a 12-hour exercise at focusing on possibility, as a segue, on Tuesday I was just had this fleeting thought because on Saturday there's been headlines about things that are anticipated to occur in the country, and I thought, how great would it be to offer somebody something where they could focus their attention on something positive?
Hmm.
And I thought about just live streaming my mesa for like a day and people could come and go and meditate with the mesa. And then I thought, well, I could start that at the center and then come home and just hop on and do a little talk every hour. And then it turned into, hey, what if I like had guests on and created like a 12-hour live stream of possibility? And this is what was created in 2 days.
Isn't
So
that cool, guys?
yeah, so I followed this inspiration, reached out to a lot of the folks that I know are influencers in the community, and we're going to have a 12-hour stream featuring like some of my teachers, Elaine Thomas and Mark Thomas, who my mediumship and meditation instructors. We have Tim Brainerd, who's local, Angie, who is a registered medium. We got Dr. K. We have Victor, who is the organizer of Victory of Light Expos. We have an amazing lineup of people, and there's a schedule on the YouTube feed. I'll post a link for it where you can see who's speaking when. So on that day, if you'd like to focus your attention on something different and something positive, tune in whenever you can and share especially on this one. Please share the
Yeah.
video and invite your friends. There's a Facebook group you can invite people to be interested in that, and they'll get notifications and things. But out of everything, and this is kind of how I got my organizer fix because I couldn't do the Holistic Health and Healing Expo this year, and this came together in 2 days. Like how
Isn't
potent,
that so
how
cool?
and how potent are all of you too? Everybody watching this, we are all made of the same divine essence. We all get these inspirations all the time. Neil said that when he was writing his books, he knew God told him that there was like hundreds of people on the planet getting the same downloads of information. He was the one that chose to write it down.
Hmm.
What inspirations are we all getting? What could we be focusing our intention on and our attention on that could create possibility in the world that we might just have that fleeting thought and just let it go, because that's all it was. It was just a little thought, and then I asked a question, well, what could this be? And then it started to unravel and unfold, and boom, we have this event on Saturday. So I inspire all of you to
Yay.
choose the same type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. And it's, if you're on these streams and you listen, it's Swami Parthasarathy, he's one of the self-awakened souls. He really discusses it's 1 in a million people that are interested in this content. Majority of your neighbors, your friends are not. They have no idea. We are there to try to help spark some interest, but if you're really tuning in regularly, it is 1 in a million people that, and I say that figuratively, that really are interested in raising the level of their lives to better and better and better states, and to think of better possibilities in their life. The majority of people do not, and they go through their 8 to 5 day jobs and that sort of thing, and they don't think about these things at all. Even though we're all getting downloads, majority
Yeah.
of people don't think about this. So kudos to all of you who do tune in and who are kind of going, this is interesting. I wonder how this can help me. Majority of people are not at that state, and that's what we're seeing now. Is the universe is really trying, God, whatever source you want to affiliate with, is really trying to say, wake up, guys. There's more. So
Yeah. That's where my acronym for COVID that Spirit gave me, creating opportunities via intuiting divinity. And what if COVID was the way for the world to put a pause button on humanity so that we would just be able to sit with ourselves and our soul and really get in touch with that divine spark within? And now what world would we create if we all started to give attention to those inspirations that we're getting from within? It is a whole, I think in book 4 of Neil's work, he calls it the pulse of the soul, like the little impulse that we get from our soul of what would create possibility and wonder in our world. Hmm.
yeah, absolutely. And yes, COVID did do that, but I think we very quickly forgot.
Yeah,
So we paused for a while, and now we're in chaos.
yeah.
So
But,
retract, guys.
well,
Yeah.
but in chaos there comes unlimited
More
possibility.
opportunities. More
In shamanism,
opportunities.
we actually say the left-hand side of the mesa, that is the chaos. It is the unmanifested light. And in that chaos, like what can you truly create in that world? And from an astrology note, earth energy is harmony through conflict. So amongst this apparent conflict, we're going to be able to harmonize and create a balance through it. That's what this planet is all about, is being able to find that center point. Ooh, that's a good thing too. Let me offer this to you. This is the they call it the credo from Rishi's Metaphysical Institute. It is my desire to sit calmly upon the throne of the temple of my own body between the two great pillars of positive and negative vibration, balancing them to the point where I can radiate through my temple of light to all whom we contact the wonderful peace, poise, power, wisdom, love, and harmony of God. That is a
Love
wonderful
that.
way to start the day when you, or if you're about to meditate, saying an affirmation like that, recognizing that it's simply positive and negative polarities. It's not good or bad or right and
Mhm.
wrong or anything else. If you can really look at it from that point of view, nothing will take you off center, and you'll be able to really wield both of those energies together and create something different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Energies are not, there's not like there's evil and good and evil. Everything came from good. Don't forget that. I mean, as far as
Everything came from source, good
from
and evil
source.
polarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I take it.
So,
And in the duality, we do have good and evil. So let's be real for a moment that while we're here in the duality, our perception of right and wrong, that absolutely does exist. But from a one-ality perspective, it's just experience, which you can label however you want. And it's from,
there's,
if you can be in the world but not of it, that's where you
yep,
can
that's
navigate.
exactly, yep. I love that because that's how Dr. Dyer puts it too. If you can be in the world, but we're not, we are in the world, but we are not of the world. So this is not really our home. It's kind of not where we came from. We're here to have the experiences. But Deepak Chopra had a wonderful saying, and maybe this is more for Saturday, but coming to peace with the world is coming to peace with yourself. And I kind of like that. When you come to peace with yourself, you'll be able to so much better handle the world processes. And a lot of people, I think during this time of COVID, it's been pulled up. So you kind of look at where you're not at peace with yourself and things that are going on in your world, and what's the best way to get that on track and more centered.
Absolutely. And that you can bring up today and on Saturday. That's
I
a
will. I'll
wonderful
bring that up.
concept to bring that up. And we look at it in the Paco tradition of Peru that the you and the body is a it is a reflection of the earth, and you are creating the whole reality around you in this kausai pacha, this field of living energy. And if you are truly the only one in the room as an individualization of God, everything, or of source, I don't want to use the God word too much, people will jump ship, right? Because of all the points of view,
Yeah.
judgments, projections, expectations, and conclusions we have around what that word means.
Yeah.
But but everything in your reality is showing up because of what is going on within. And so to the degree you can be peaceful within is the degree you can accept the world as peaceful, and vice versa. So it's really in tandem. And that's why Ho'oponopono, ono, I always mispronounce it. I know you didn't. Yeah,
Ho'oponopono. I
because it's about,
finally learned how to say
yeah,
that.
because it's about the space you're holding,
Yeah.
and every single thing that shows up in your reality, taking responsibility. Okay, what in me created this, and what can I resolve within myself that will put this issue to peace and resolution? It's not just going through the words; it's the space and the actual holding the space of the energy of shifting it. So that's another great tool. Everything that shows up in your reality, ask yourself, what part did I have in creating this, and what energy could I be to create a different possibility?
Yeah, because we do attract these things. Again, it goes back to the line of energy flows where your attention goes. So if you're fixated on or thinking about consistently, you're starting to create something. And you won't, sometimes we're just not aware of these things, but you'll attract certain relationships and then they don't work out. And you're like, what the heck, man? I've been looking for somebody for so long and found this guy, found this gal, and it doesn't work. Well, there's something, what's within you and what's going on with your subconscious or even conscious fixations. And the subconscious ones are the sneaky ones, like Hank talked about, because sometimes we're not aware that inside we're like, but I'm not perfect. So you may attract somebody that's not perfect and then it doesn't work. But we're not aware of these little things. So
Well,
yeah, it's tricky. It gets very
well,
tricky.
and that also, because the greatest truths are paradoxes. We've talked about this before. And where are you creating from? If you are creating from the space of relationships and duality, one of the rules of creation is the rule of opposites. And if you say, I want to create Mr. and Mrs. Right in my life, guess who shows up first? Mr. and Mrs. Wrong. It's part of the process when creating from the duality. When creating from onality, if you can be in the world but not of it, and look at everything as a creationship in which you're recognizing everything as an aspect of divinity and you're creating with it as opposed to against it, then like attracts like. Birds of a feather flock together as a onality truth, opposites attract as a duality truth. They both function simultaneously at the same time, causing confusion. So if something is misfiring with what you're looking to create in your life, take a pause and ask yourself, from where am I creating this? Onality or duality? And then if it is duality, then from Neil's work, once the opposite shows up, it is your opportunity to reaffirm to the universe what you're choosing, and then push forward, push through it, and create it anyway. So, but you can create either way. You can create with ease or with chaos.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And a lot of people, I think now, the other thing I'm hearing, and I'm going to use the word God in this sense because that's a lot of what I'm hearing, but identify with whatever you want to use. But why is God letting these things happen? Trust in God. God will, fix this situation with this whole election, and good will win. God always wins. There's a saying, and I'm trying to remember where I learned it, but God does nothing and leaves nothing undone. So we personify God. A lot of people personify God as a person. And really, it's...
I didn't mean to bring that up. I'm trying to delete the person. We got our first official troll spammer. But that's good. That means we're reaching people,
Oh, you'll have to tell me about that. But it's an energy source. It's energy that's running through us, through a divine light. And so God allows us free will. Universe, source, whatever you want to call your affiliation, is... Brahman, we have choice. And so sometimes we look and it's like, but we are creating here. God's not going to come in here and just wipe everybody out and say, okay, everybody sit down. You're not talking anymore. I'm going to handle this. I don't know if that's the way it's going to work. This is going to play out. And the more we can help each other see more light, the better things will be. And the more people that meditate at the same time, the more ripple effect it creates in the universe. So we'd love to have you join on Saturday. So I'm sure I know I'm going to do a very powerful prayer. And the more people we can have listening to this and doing that meditation and sending that energy out, the more ripple effect it will create for those that maybe aren't there yet. So it does have a great effect. Who's the spammer?
Oh, I don't know. Ernie's entertaining them for a moment. Ernie, where are you watching from? I blocked it in the studio, but I'm not sure which page. I should make Ernie an admin on everything so he can boot people and stuff like that happens. He's on a lot of the streams.
See, I can't see anything since I last got booted off. Now I don't see the comments. Boo.
Well, I think it's better overall, though, because I don't want people who are on being distracted necessarily. Because if I hadn't clicked the wrong button, and they might be, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But you know that you're reaching a lot of people when you get the spammers and the scammers and all that good stuff. So anybody watching, if you're in one of the pages and you see someone claiming that you won a prize and to text a number, it's not a good idea. Don't do it.
Yeah, please don't.
Follow your knowing on that one. And at the end of the day, scammer person, thank you for your contribution. You're still helping the algorithm for us to get to serve to more people. So we honor your contribution anyhow.
That is the best. Yeah. I mean, you can reach that state where you have no reaction and no charge to something. I can tell you it's the best. It really this feels great. I didn't get aggravated. It's really cool. It doesn't happen all the time. It takes a special level to get to with things start aggravating you less and less. But our healings do that, by the way.
They're actually targeting individual people that are commenting too.
Oh, nice.
I'm glad
I'm not on. I'm not getting one.
Yeah. So Mark is all excited. I was like, my genius comments just won me a trophy and a prize. Yeah, absolutely, Mark. And Ernie's just getting a little laughter over it. But really, notice this is happening, and it's not like, oh no, Dr. K, we're being scammed. Oh, this is terrible. It's like we call it in shamanism. It's wilka pukliai, sacred play. And if you can really look at everything as a way of divine play, it can take the sting and the aggravation off of things. So
that's awesome. Where's my prize? I didn't get one. What is it? 100,000? What is it?
Oh, $5,000 because you were chosen as a legitimate winner. Yeah.
Darn.
That's right.
So I'm trying to think of other tools we can give folks to help them. If you catch, number one, I think, is start catching yourself and where you're putting your attention. Where is your thought energy flowing? Number two, when you do that, we have to find a way of pivoting people, because if it's good energy flow, stay with it. If it's like, I want to create this amazing, and it feels really good, and you feel really light inside, and you feel bigger, and you feel
Oh
like you're
no.
expanding, great. Stay that. Did I froze? I froze.
You froze for a second.
Am
That's all
I
right.
back?
You're back.
You
You are
didn't do the
back.
freeze thing.
Oh, I
But
forgot.
I was saying, where number one, catch yourself on where your energy is flowing. What are your thought patterns? Where do you find yourself saying or thinking the same thing over and over? Same energy flow, like anger towards somebody or whatever it is. Catch yourself. And if it's an expansive energy where you feel really good and you're like, man, this feels awesome, I'm going to go get this, then stay in that energy flow. If it's negative and it doesn't feel good and it feels heavy and you feel really tight and frustrated, that's probably not a great energy flow. What tips can we give to help people pivot out of those things?
Absolutely.
Hank, go.
Go.
Put you on the spot.
I wasn't paying attention to anything you just said.
Thought I'd do that. What are some? I use a cord cutting technique. So whenever you find yourself in a thought flow that's negative, I kind of sweep my Ajna chakra and throw it. So because a lot of energy gets, it's kind of like it's the willpower that goes forth. I do a sweeping thing. I do a cord cutting technique. You can start immediately catching yourself and go look at a tree. How cool that tree is, or look at the neighbor. Man, as long as it's a positive thing. Look at he's raking his leaves, and make it a very neutral thought. That's one way you can start circumventing some of that energy. And spending 17 seconds on a different thought that's good is going to start changing that flow and that direction.
It's actually good to bring up the time element to that, because there is a neuroscientist, I forget his name. He is if you Google access consciousness neuroscientist, you'll find the video, and go to towards the end. He was mapping a secondary nervous system that rides the lymphatic system, which had seven ganglia nerves that had the endings coming up and touching at the top of the skin or whatnot. And these seven nerves happen to correlate with the chakras. And what he was saying is they started to map the process of creation. If you can focus on a particular intention and attention for a period of time, I forget how long he said, but maybe it was 17 seconds or something around there, that they can actually map the energy getting pulled in from the universe, or pulled in from the environment, I should say. And then after that period of time, it exponentially goes back out to the universe. And so what he was theorizing is that as you focus your intention, you're flowing in it, you're like bringing energy in to like fuel that. And then when you actually put that intention out to the universe, you're putting it out at a much greater factor than what you were pulling in with. And he's saying it might be the process of manifestation itself. So really cool video if you want to check it out.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check that video out. But yeah, there's been a lot of studies. So when we can't measure and see thoughts directly, it's not something you can just pluck out of your head and throw away because you don't want it anymore. The way scientists measure this is through neurotransmitters, through patterns like this, where they follow nerves and how the nerves are, what kind of voltage or in hertz or however they're measuring these things. I've never seen that done in person, but there's plenty of studies that depict the level of neurotransmitters that they measure through various ways, through blood, through other techniques. This is how they measure the energy of something. So this is the best way we can say when somebody's thinking anger, this is what's happening. When somebody eats sugar, this is what's happening in the brain. So we don't really, it's not something like a thought that we can just pluck out with our hands, but we can measure it through, the science is measuring these things. This is not something new. But so there is an energy flow that's constantly happening. It's just not as tangible as all of us would like it to be.
Yeah, and I did find the link to the video I just posted in comments, and just seeing one of Ernie's comments. If you happen to get a friend request, the person that was being a contribution to the show with all the winners, they are sending friend requests to people that they see commenting on the stream. So if you happen to see someone sending a friend request, use your own knowing. It is your choice, of course, but I would encourage you not to accept that friend request.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of friend requests, and what I'm doing now is I'm kind of going to their page, scrolling through, if they have a lot of different posts and it's legitimate, they're talking about different things, that's probably a legitimate person. If they don't have hardly any posts, or it's like some Bitcoin trader, please, that's up to you obviously, but please don't accept, because you might get spammed.
Unless you want to like mess with them, because at the bank where I used to work, and we dealt with a lot of scammers doing Bank Secrecy Act compliance. Some people would like mess with them on purpose, and just like their thought was, the longer I could keep them engaged, that means that they can't move on to scam the next person. So they would just mess with them on purpose with no intention, fully knowing they were a scammer, but just like waste an hour of their day if they had time, and so they weren't occupied with anyone else. So I'm not suggesting that you do that. Unless it's fun for you.
It could be fun. It could be fun. There's a lot of scamming going on right now, guys, so be careful.
Actually, I think we ought to maybe make an episode just on that. I mean, it's because when it comes to creation and everything, one of the things for self-actualization, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is like the whole, you have your basic needs, your finance needs and things first. And so there could be something to talk about spirituality and finances. And part of that
Yes.
is scammers, because there's so many people falling victim. I've known people personally. I used to deal with that all the time. And it might be a great thing to offer to people, to just as a separate
finance and spirituality. Yep. Put that in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Because they go hand in hand. They're two. We talked about this. Money is an energy, and you can't have one. To have resources to do good things in life and to be a spiritual person, you have to have finances. So, yeah, and don't let those get taken away by some mistake because of a longing that you have inside for something.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And we're at about the 10 minutes to the hour. And I would encourage anybody who has like actual questions and aren't having questions about winning a lottery or anything like that. That's a great time to post your questions, because we'll be wrapping up here as we approach the hour. We like to keep them under an hour so we can upload these to Instagram afterwards as well. So now's the time. Any questions you have or comments? Was this helpful, I hope? Or if you have situations in your life where you are finding yourself stuck, like maybe we can be a little bit of a more detailed contribution for you. And of course, if you're really stuck, I encourage you to check out our Monday clinic, because that would be an opportunity where we can work one-on-one, and we can do that virtually now via Zoom. So
Yeah.
if we just open the computer, we send you a link, and we have the interaction, and we can still do it virtually or in person. And that's all. I'll get the link on the Emergence of Being website. I'll post a link here in the comments in a moment.
And it works just as well, guys. I've done a lot of distance healings with my technique. I do it via Zoom. Sometimes I just tell the person, hey, I'm going to do this tomorrow, and I will message you as soon as I'm done, and take your salt bath and do everything after. So I have worked with people in other states, and it works just as well. Energy is very powerful, and it works just fine. So if you're worried, like, well, you're not really there for me in person, and I'm not there, is it going to be as potent? Absolutely. Absolutely. So don't fret on that.
Yep. And here is the link, posting it in comments. And I'll add it as a banner just to put it up for a moment too. I have to edit. I ran out of banners. You can only do 50 of them. Who knew that there was a limit? But there's the link if you are interested. You can go to Emergence of Being, then it's under Experiences, and then Energy Clinic. And there's also profile pages on for Dr. K and I if you want to connect more one-on-one. We both do one-on-one work. And we are talking about and actually starting to put energy into offering some sort of group program to working together, because we're always referring people back and forth. And we thought, hey, why not create something more in a bigger scope together? So we're going to be offering that pretty soon here.
Yeah, so if you need health help, if you need energy help, we both do that. Hank's he's just a plethora of knowledge. I'm always amazed. And so combining those things, because they go hand in hand. You cannot have, I always stress this, you cannot have good health without energy.
You got the physician.
You have to have both.
That way, the physician and the metaphysician. I always forget the video's mirrored, so... Oh, no, shoot. Oh, little freeze there. We have Ernie Bentz just chiming in saying, life is great. Thank you for sharing. And then Mark, he's one of the people that's come to the clinic in the past. The clinics are super awesome, highly recommended. And Mary Lee was saying she's getting experience at recognizing these scammers. So I'm glad that you are recognizing that. It is a crazy world out there with that. I'm glad that happened, because it kind of brings up awareness that maybe we can offer a contribution to create a little bit more lightness and possibility in that world. So cool. Anything else? Oh, other than show up on Saturday, please.
Yeah. What is the Saturday? I'm sorry, I don't watch the news. Is there something big that's supposed to happen on Saturday?
According to the headlines, there was intelligence, like FBI intelligence, that there may be some potent protests planned
Okay,
starting on the 16th and through inauguration. And
got it.
so when I saw those headlines, I thought, well, might be glued to the television set watching
To
the
see what's
news and
happening,
things.
yeah.
And what would how it would be great to be able to offer a different possibility and focusing on the world we would like to create instead of the things in the world that we wish would change. So focus on the solution, not the problem, because where energy goes, or energy flows where your attention goes.
It
So
goes, yeah.
focusing on the solution, that's how the solution grows. Focus on the problem, that is how the problem goes. So that is
That is a great ending line. The more you focus on the problem, the more the problem will culminate. Focus on the solution, and you will get the solution.
absolutely. Yeah, and Ernie was adding that this is a planned thing potentially in all state capitals, not just DC. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, what energy, space, consciousness, and choice could our body, beings, and beyond be to create a different possibility of peace and just wonderment in the world with total ease? And allow that energy to come up in you. That is the energy that is going to help create the world that we would all love to live in. And then asking the second question to go with that, where in our reality, in all aspects of being both known and unknown, or do we have an energy that would prevent us stepping into that energy fully? And all the places that would be a hindrance, we are willing to destroy, uncreate, transmute, and transform. And so what we're doing there is we're recognizing the energy we would like to step into, recognizing and addressing and healing the energy that would stop us from stepping into it. And that way we can all move forward with ease to create that peace and possibility in the world. So truly, that's everybody's homework.
Homework. Yep.
That's your homework. And also tune in Saturday. And Anne is asking what's happening on Saturday. I'll throw up the overlay again and take down the banner. I was inspired to put on a 12-hour live stream event with different guests all throughout the day, including Dr. K, Ryan Dean, who I believe you know. Then we also have Mary Ford, who's local, Param, who's been on TED Talks. We have Victor, who organizes the Victory of Light Expo, Marketing Lane Thomas, Fellowships of the Spirit. We have Joy. She's the one that looks kind of like with the little red hood. She is from a class that Dr. K and I took together that is really well known in New Zealand, but she has created a 3-minute technique of how to eliminate stress from your life because she had to by default. Tim Brainerd, we have all kinds of, and there's some people that I couldn't fit on here too. So there is all kinds of possibility on Saturday. So tune in. It's going to go from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'm going to have a case of my caffeinated water at the ready and coffee, so I can make it through all the way because I can talk. I've never talked
That
12
long.
hours. That being said, some people are planning more of like they're going to be talking on their own. Some people, it's going to be conversational. I also have some videos that people are giving me, like Patty Conklin, a world-renowned medical intuitive, is giving me a 10-minute video to play because she couldn't be a part of the event, but wanted to contribute. So there's other people that are just contributing. Tim Brainerd couldn't be on live, but we're going to be recording right after this, something that I'm going to play on air on Saturday. So it's going to be just a whole bunch of possibility and tools, techniques. I've asked everybody to give a tool or a technique that could be a takeaway that people could use to start creating change in their life.
Absolutely. At the bottom of it all, I think humanity, people want love and respect. At the bottom of it all, in some way, shape, or form, people just want love and respect. And then all this stuff piles on top of it. So we try to get it through anger. We try to get it through this. We try to get it through that. And so all these things layer up. But at the bottom, that's just what the human kind of wants and desires, should I say, to feel.
Or to boil it down, one more thing from that, everybody desires to be able to be them in this world and to not be judged or to be allowed to be them without judgment. And and it is going to be online. It's going to be on the Emergence of Being YouTube channel. So where you're watching right now is where it's going to be. There's also a Facebook event I posted in the comments. You could like the event, invite your friends, share the event. That's going to help create a lot more awareness. If you want to contribute to the event, that's the best way. And if you're going to watch it on Friday or Friday, if you're going to watch it on Saturday, today's Friday, start a watch party on Facebook. And even if you can't be on the whole time, just set your phone and then go do whatever you're going to do. Keep that going, because all things like that are going to help that get served to a lot more people. And that's the greatest way you could contribute to the event to make it even more successful.
Absolutely. So look forward to seeing you guys.
Yep. Awesome. And with that, we're right at the hour. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. And Dr. K will be on Saturday as well. I forget the time slot.
3:30.
3:30. So I'll be on with Dr. K at 3:30 on Saturday, and the whole schedule is posted on the Facebook group. So if you have one speaker that you want to really hear, you can plan to be there live if you want to offer a comment or a question. I can't guarantee we'll get to it, but we will do our best. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.